Welcome to Masculinity Now with Arabella Tornau.
Welcome to Masculinity Now with Arabella Tornau and today's guest, Jafeth Guerrero. Jafeth is a musician. He's a professional salsa dancer who is organizing international dance retreats. He's also an English teacher, a Spanish teacher, that's how we met, and he carries the experiences as a Colombian soldier with him. I'm so excited for so many reasons for today's episode, but first of all, welcome, Jafeth.
Thank you very much, Arabella, for the invitation.
You look amazing.
Thank you very much. You too.
Thank you so much. Before we dive in, I want to get a little bit a background how we met and why today we also have this special conversation. And it's a really interesting and funny story because I came to Tulum 3 months ago. My friend told me, if you want to meet people, you need to get outside of your way. You need to get outside, basically out of your door. And I was like, yeah, I know, but I kind of like to also stay by myself, to be working whatever I need to work on. And I told myself also on New Year's, I do want to learn at least a little bit of Spanish. So I found your contact because of WhatsApp and Instagram. And I was, okay, that sounds amazing. I'm not really quite sure. But then your girlfriend reached out to me again. And I'm like, okay, something is with him. There's something special with him. I don't know why, but thank you for her that she insisted to meet you because of her, I was like, okay, I want to learn Spanish. At least I want to be able to order some tacos. Okay, I reached out to you. One day, you came to me in front of my doorstep, and now we are here having this beautiful conversation. So I told my friend, you know what? I don't need to get out of my house. People come, and I have the most interesting time with, because for the first time I saw you, it was pretty clear that there is something deeper. And we talked, and now today we explore it even further.
It's really beautiful what you just said, your perception about what you saw when you just opened the door is really nice. And I really appreciate that from you, of course.
Thank you. I can remember when you first came to my house, you were a little irritated because there was also a police station on the street.
Yeah.
And I can remember that you came and you told me, okay, I was serving in the Colombian army, but this is still very intimidating, when like 6-7 police officer with a machine gun holding me back and just staying in front of me. And for me, I never experienced this because I'm on my little scooter and I'm a woman and I'm driving past that. So I can I connected even more with you because then I got curious. I was like, so what is his story? Like why is he such an inspiring person who dances salsa, who is a professional salsa dancer, who has a past as a soldier? How does that fit together? That was the question I had in my mind.
Well, in Colombia, in that time when I was just 18 years old, it was mandatory to go to the army. So you have to present yourself to the army and they decide if you have to go in service or not. But it happens for a lot of young people in Colombia, especially men, that is mandatory for men, that they go to the army in that season of their lives when they're just growing up, when they're just building a personality, and that's the relationship that actually has the military service with someone at that age in my country. So I was dancing, I was also studying, but I needed to go to the army mandatorily for at least 2 years. But I was also studying, so I just went for 9 months.
And when you're looking back around this time, what would you say shaped you? What was the experience or the memory that you were saying that really shifted the way I moved through life and also benefited me as well?
Well, during the army, I was with one of my friends from childhood. He was next to me in a place that was really dangerous in that time. It was in conflict, and he was murdered by the guerrillas in front of the group. And of course, that's something I cannot forget. It's something I remember every day. And that was like the separation between my old me and the new one. In that moment, I really questioned myself and said, is this necessary? Like, is this what a man needs to live? What is this for? Who am I doing this for? And all these questions come, of course, with answers. At the end, you just need to be able to listen to yourself and see what you have to say to yourself. And that was, I think, like the switch that I needed to do really something different, to not to keep experiencing these traumatic situations, and also to avoid my family and my close members to live this kind of situations.
We already dived right in. I was creating a little bit more questions before that, but I think it's very important that we talk about, and thank you so much for opening this door and sharing this with us, because when you told me this the first time, I looked at you and I was, how did you react it? Like, how was it even possible to go into bed afterwards? Can you take us back a little bit to this moment and also the shift that you felt in this moment, but also afterwards?
It's something that you need to live with that. You need to learn how to live with these kind of things. It is when you feel something really traumatic in life, even when you lose someone that you really appreciate in any conditions, this is something that you need to learn how to live with this. Of course, you use it as something positive, something inspiring, something you can use it as a fuel to get something bigger, or you can just go in the cave of the problem, of the feeling. And of course, it's something really sad. It's something that is not full of joy. But then what you learn afterwards is what you need to live with. And to take decisions in your life, even if those things are in your heart, even if those things are in your head, then you need to take decisions over all of it and overcome these situations and make something new. You need to make yourself someone new.
And how did you, before, or like during that event happened and after, who would you say these identities from you? How would you describe yourself now to this version of you that was in the army and also experienced tremendously of trauma?
No, I can say that there was a complete wake up. Mm-hmm. It is like, look around. This is not a life. This is not what you deserve. This is not the only thing you can do. You can do so many other things. You have so many talents. You have so many skills. What are you doing with this? At the moment, nothing, because you're just holding a gun and what? So what you need is to empower yourself with the talents that you were given, with the skills that you have learned during your life, and make the best of yourself with that. So when I realized that I was doing anything with my talents in that moment, then I came back to what I was doing when I was a teenager. I was in the band of the school playing the guitar. I was playing the bass guitar. I was learning how to dance. So I came back to all of this. Mm-hmm. And this really reminded me the value of all the knowledge that I got in the past that I wasn't using.
I met a lot of soldiers too, and survivor guilt is something that always came up also in our conversations, and also not only in the context of being in the army, but also if someone else that we dearly love passes away and we have the feeling of why this person, why not me? So for me, the question is, did you ever experience this type of feeling? Or what was your reaction when that moment happened with your friend?
There is like a blank. It is, you don't hear anything else. You don't see anything else. There is a blank. because it is like one part of you disconnects.
Yeah.
So there's not like, everyone can react in a different way, but my reaction was a blank. We were in the middle of a shooting, but then you don't hear the bullets anymore. You don't listen to your partners anymore. You're just there in shock. It's a shock situation. So there is a complete blank. You don't feel anything. You don't hear anything. You cannot speak. You're completely blocked because there is a part of you that you don't feel inside you anymore. You're completely disconnected. That was what I felt.
When my best friend died, I had a similar experience to that. And now I realize that this moment shakes us up to our core and reveals like the reality that we're living in within and outside of ourselves. But back to the moment where that happened, and also to the feeling that you told me when we first came together and you told me the story the first time. You said something very, very beautiful, and that what really touched my heart as well, because you said something, what a blessing it is that I'm alive. You know, that it was my time to actually be here. And whatever reasons, whatever past experiences and karma and whatsoever was also in this point for him came to an end, whatever that was, I'm here. Can you share a little bit more to what you meant when you told me that?
Well, after all of this, then, as I told you can do something with that. Or you can be grateful about what you have, about that it could be you, but it wasn't like that. Or you can just say like, no, this is not for me. I feel depressed. And I mean, it's fine that you feel whatever, but then what are you going to do? So I started practicing something that is the daily gratefulness. And it is basically to look around and see that I'm not in those places and those situations anymore. It is like you are now in a different place. You healed yourself. You were strong enough to do so. So then you can start being grateful about the things, but then you need to get out of the circle of the bad feeling, of the bad memory. And then to start focusing your energy in the things that you have in the present. And gratefulness is a really good thing to be in the present, because you need to really observe to be grateful. It's not just to say gracias, gracias, gracias y ya. It's also to go into the detail of why you are grateful. And that's something that if you practice, the more you do it, the better it feels. Because then you don't see it as something bad, but you see it as something that you had to pass by, then you can reach something bigger and better for your life.
What would you also say if someone listens to that and experiences a similar memory, a similar experience in the army or in their life? You said already two very powerful words, gratitude and the present moment.
Exactly.
Could you go deeper a little bit also into it? What will happen when you focus too much on the past or too much on the future?
Yes, like your energy is where you are putting all your attention. So if you are putting all your attention in the past, you are going to live in the past. Even if you are in the best place of the world, you are going to be in the cage of the past. If you think in the future, you are focusing your intention, your energy there, then you are not living in the present. And believe me, a lot of things don't happen. What you imagine for the future, most of those things don't happen. So you are constantly putting your energy in something that is taking just your focus of what you really have in the present. But then you look around and I, for example, say like that person that was in the army in that moment with no idea what was going to happen, now is sitting here in a podcast telling the story with a really beautiful person behind the screens, with another one here in front of me, that are giving this appreciation to the story instead or thinking that is something bad. They're looking at the result of the process.
We talked also about that we get in life certain lessons. And I also believe that we get certain lessons because our soul, we know how to handle it. Maybe not this person right now when this situation happens, when the death happens, when the trauma happens or whatsoever. But there is something deeper that I also felt when we interacted with each other, like a presence, like something that is there also when your humanness can't really tell or can grasp it because it's not visible. And my question is, when was the time when you discovered to choose the path of strength and love instead of suffering and anger and resentment?
I realized this in a moment when I was completely alone. Of course, you isolate yourself, then you are out of the distractions of the noise, of the influences, because at the end, when you go outside, you are just a character for someone else. For example, here in the podcast, you're a Spanish teacher, or I'm someone in the podcast for someone who doesn't know me, or I'm the salsa dancer or something. But that none of this is you real. None of this is yourself, the deeper person that you have, the being that you need to talk to. So in the isolation, I started to listen to the real me because I wasn't with my friends in that moment. I really appreciate my friends and everything, but in that moment was the process to be alone. And in that moment, I said, no, I need to take care of myself. And it's not selfish to say that. It's something that everyone needs to be in your intimate auto-discovery. Mm-hmm. So then you can see what you really are. But for that, you need complete silence. You need to be out of the distraction. And then you start to love you. The more time that you spend with you, you start to take care of yourself. Because when you are with others, when you are doing a lot of things in the internet and everything, you are distracted, you are influenced, you are not focusing on yourself. So you don't know you don't know what you need, you don't know what to heal because you haven't identified the reason why you feel how you feel. Mm-hmm. Like there's no answers, but a lot of questions. And for that, you need to be alone.
Most of the men that I met, and also I know a time in my own life where I was afraid of being alone. Why would you think, first of all, that is? And did you also experience after the army where you wanted to distract yourself and not wanting to deal with the memories and your feelings? Yeah, can you give me a little bit of insight?
Well, like talking about my case, mm-hmm. more than the fear to be alone is the fear to face the things.
Yeah.
Because of course, when you are outside, you don't need to think about those things. When you are on the TV, you don't think about those things. When you are in the video games, you don't think about those things. When you are with people, you don't think about these things. But when you are in silence, alone, with no influence from outside, what you have to say? You need to really think about it. You need to really find the solution. There's no other way. If you want to keep alive.
Sí.
Because then, of course, there are other solutions, between quotations, for a lot of people that don't know how to react to the isolation. That's really unfortunate because everyone is able to face the problems because the human being is magical. Mm-hmm. But the magic just happens indoors with yourself, with your eyes closed, present in your breathing, mm-hmm. listening to what you have to say to yourself, identifying the cause, identifying the memory, identifying the feeling, identifying the scar, But that's something that just you can do.
And what did you find out for yourself when you were the first time alone after this time? What did you discover? What was always there but was hidden?
Oh, then I discovered a lot of things, but I needed to be quiet for that. I discovered that I was a really talented child, but I was in a lot of problems all the time because of the cultural condition of my country, because of the politics of my country as well. That in that moment when I was a child, my country was a really violent one and was immersed in narco traffic, in wars.
Yeah.
So it was a complete chaos. So everything that you watch on the TV or everything that everyone is talking about is something traumatic for a child. But that's actually the only thing to talk about because it's something that is happening and is affecting everyone. And that's where I connect dancing with all these traumas. Because in my country, I'm not the only one. I'm just other young boy that was in the middle of the war of a country or the violence or the poverty or whatever. But then you find a door that can make you feel comfortable, first of all, with you, that can align your spirit with your body and your mind, that can explode your creativity, that make you feel more confident. So dance is a lot of these things. And dance have taken out from the streets a lot of my friends, a lot of people in my country, that now they go and they dance next to Jennifer Lopez and Shakira in the Super Bowl when they used to be in the middle of this conflict in my country. So this is the example that dance can really take you out of a lot of shitty situations.
Dance also embodies. And what happened, what would you say, also looking back in the situation? Because you told me I was just doing my thing. I was just trying to survive. I didn't feel anything. And I also know from friends, you just do it. You don't feel a thing, because if you feel, you're fucked, because that's not a place where you actually allow your emotions and to interrupt. And what would you say that shifted in how you also perceive masculinity and also femininity and the movement, the surrendering, the emotions, but also the strength and the structure that we all grow up, but in different dynamics, in different cultures?
Well, everyone has masculine energy and feminine energy, men and women. Then there is a balance that works better for anyone. But for example, to be emotional, to be sensitive is something really necessary to heal. You need to feel yourself and then you can do something about it. You need to go through the emotion. You need to go through the memory. You need to really revise with detail. That's the feminine energy in my case. Someone that said, no, it's not bad to be sad, but what are we going to do about it? Then I needed also to take control of this and to structure my life and to see how I was going to overcome these problems and everything. And then it was my empowerment as a man also to say, well, I'm going to die. I'm going to let die myself here, or I'm going to do something about it. But I needed to feel also first what was going on. And it's a complement of both energies. Of course, if you as a man has a lot, you have a lot of feminine energy and you cannot balance this energy, then there is going to be an imbalance. There is going to be something visible, you know? But for example, if as a man, you use the right amount of your feminine energy that you have inside you, because it's a perfect design, that if you let yourself feel, there's nothing wrong about it.
What would you say is the biggest lie that men are told?
For example, when you're a kid, then when somebody tells you like, men don't cry, for example, and that's a chip. It's a chip from when you are a baby.
Yeah.
Men don't cry in this, so you start from scratch to supreme yourself. Well, no, you can cry. Of course, it's not good to cry all the time as a man. Then there is a balance.
What would you say in this case is necessary? What would you say when you're a little child, you hurt yourself, you're crying. You said you were a boy who always loved to dance, who was always like very creative, who was always in touch, with yourself and with your body. But there was a time where you unlearned it, where you maybe also needed to fit into a box, because it was expected for you to act a certain way. Would you say this was what is going on in our world at large, but also in our interpersonal and personal experiences and family dynamics? Because you are a rich country, you are full of dance and music and rhythm, struggle, resilience, history. Because when I look to Germany and compare also Colombia, it's two different pairs of shoes, but we could benefit from each of us.
In my country, fortunately, there is a really good culture of expression. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of music, we have a lot of dancing, we speak a really rich language, and we are not shy. Why? Because in our society, it's not that common to be shy, because everyone is really allowed to express what they need, what they have to say. So this is something that I really appreciate from my culture, that even if we have these problems, then when you grow up, you realize that that's not necessary. And also we owe this to the women that we have in Colombia. They are like really feminine women, and it doesn't mean that they are submissive or nothing like that, because nowadays there is a really bad concept of what being a female or a male is. Now there is a completely distortion about the topic. Mm-hmm. But there the women are really feminine, are really empowered. Of course, there is a lot of social and cultural issues and in the mentality but at least there is a space for interaction between men and women, between men and men. There is like really good relationship as well. And this is something that gets the society together. Mm-hmm. Yes, I think that's something good in my country. I love that.
It is, because in the end of the day, when you go deeper and deeper and deeper into different experiences, it always comes back to one word, and it's connection. It's connection to yourself, it's connection to other people, it's how you relate, and also how you express yourself. And when you was talking about that the first time, I was like, this is so cool, because yes, you have your struggles, you have your past, you have the tremendously amount of violence also in your country. And I don't understand. I understand, but I did not experience it firsthand to grow up with weapons around me or with uncertainty around me. I can put myself into your shoes because I can empathize with it, but I didn't experience it. But communicating about that and talking about it, and also seeing how we can all relate to each other, because we are all human and we all have, what you said, the masculine and the feminine energy within ourselves. We need to find a way to express our emotions, because they have a reason why they're there. They're not coming out of nothing. So circling back to the feminine and masculine qualities and energies, was there any time where you found out what true masculinity means for you and what you believed before masculinity was?
Well, for me, true masculinity and true femininity at the end are the same. Mm-hmm. Like we go to the same place, of course, with our own tools as men and women. Mm-hmm. But I discovered when I was alone, as I told you. And then when you are inside you healthy, when you are disposed, then you can relate better with the rest, you can share better with the rest. And the truth, masculinity is to take care of each other, is to take care, to not to have the control in a bad way, but we are made to construct. We are constructors. That's our natural way of being. So we need also to align to our natural way of being. It's not that, yes, I'm a woman, but I'm going to behave like a man just because I want to be empowered. And now that's the bad example that we see the most. And there's nothing bad to feel beautiful, to make up yourself. There's nothing bad with that. You can still be an empowered woman. You can still be the CEO of the biggest company in the world. And then go back to your house and cook. What is the problem? And me as a man as well, I can go to my job and then come back to my house and then share with my girlfriend and cook. There's nothing wrong to feel how you feel. You just need to express naturally, with no distortion, with nothing in the middle. It's just that now there are a lot of labels on the table, so nobody knows where to look at. But not just go into yourselves. How you feel? Masculinity is take charge of your own energy. Femininity is to take charge of your own energy. If you're a woman, if I'm a man, well, my energy, the one that is about my concern, the one that represents me. So if that's my masculine energy, I need to listen to that and express it that way, naturally. Not influenced or not labeled by any other one that doesn't even know you. Because that's something that you need to also take charge of what you are. Because somebody else can tell you a lot of things of you. So that's what you have to do. The masculinity and the femininity is just to take charge of your own energy as a woman or as a man and make the best of that in your own expression, because every human being is a different intellect. So your way of expression can be different to others, but it's not something that you need to be sorry about. It's something that you need to use, that you need to put it in practice, because it's your experience of life. That's why you need to take charge. That's the energy. In general, it's the energy of human beings. You need to take charge of that and invest it in the experience of life that you have. And not to put it on the labels, not to put it on the bad experience that you have, on the karma that you have created or your family.
You said also one word that resonated also with everything, very much with me. It was when you don't know who you are, others will tell you who you are. So you need to discover who you are under everything, under any layers of grief, under any emotion that you maybe pushed away because you're afraid to feel it, or you're afraid to face the pain that it will reveal itself. What do you believe how pain actually does for us? In pain in regards, so many of us are afraid to feel pain. We are disconnecting ourselves from our emotions because we don't want to deal with it. I found out, I can only talk for myself, that pain is a powerful tool in order to grow. And once you told me a very powerful metaphor with the tree and everything. I don't want to put you anything in your mouth, but it reminded me of that. So what do you feel of the importance of pain in our society?
I think that pain is something that really changed the mind of humans and something like that, but I don't think that is necessary. Pain is necessary when you are not conscient of something. Mm-hmm. So the unconsciousness comes with pain, mm-hmm. for you or for others, or for both. But when you are conscious of something, you don't need to go. You don't need to go across the pain. Mm-hmm. And of course, it's a tool to learn. It's a tool to get conscient.
When I found out how pain works and also how I can rewind my brain towards the word on itself, I realized we are strong enough to, if we don't like something, we can just stop it. We don't need to go through all the traumatic experiences or the pain and the suffering over and over and over again. But I believe also, to a certain degree, we are meant to awaken to this part within ourselves that is only accessible when we are alone. But that's the reason why pain is actually necessary, what you said, in order to awaken this part that has the answers that you're actually looking for, that has the strength, that helps you to get out of bed and rewind your past. Because so many of us are playing the story of abuse or of trauma over and over and over again. What would you say if you can say something to the world at large, but also in our interpersonal conflicts? What needs to change?
The outside world, the large world, as you said, is completely manipulated. Mm-hmm. So we need to identify the manipulation, because the manipulation itself is to separate us first from ourselves, mm-hmm. because that's something that is really effective for them. If you don't know how to connect with yourself, then you cannot connect with others, and then they can manipulate you. Because to keep power, you need to manipulate the mass. And that's something that is happening, that we are getting manipulated for not to look at each other as a friend, as a brother, or as a sister. So in the division, you find power. Mm-hmm. So we are being divided. Mm-hmm. So what we have to do is first to get into ourselves, to find who we are, and then to look at the rest and to learn and to see and experience that everyone is the same and that we are just here to have the best experience that we can offer. Nothing else. But of course, if there is hate in the middle, division in the middle, if we are how can we change the news? Not really watching the news.
Yeah.
And looking at your neighbor. Is your neighbor okay? Is your mom okay? We can change our own environment, because we cannot change the world from one step to another, but we can change us and we can change our environment. And then that environment, we change a bigger environment, and that bigger environment will change another a little bit bigger.
We always believe that we're watching the news and we are pointing fingers to other people and talking about what's going on externally, and we believe we don't have any power to change what we see in the screen. But I believe we do, because in the end of the day, it's when we face our internal battles, whatever distortion or whatever separation is going on between our own energies within ourselves, we can identify with that gift also and have enough energy also to face the external war. And what you said, I love it, because it's about unity and it's about connection. And I think especially Colombia and a culture full of, music, who's like, you guys are dancing, you guys are being in your body, you are connecting to your roots. You have a history since thousands of years, I assume, of, movement. And you are present. And you need to be present if you want to change something in the picture within yourself, but also in the bigger picture with humanity. So what would you also say when you take, for example, European countries? Because I know you traveled also to Amsterdam, and you are where did you also travel to in Europe?
In Amsterdam, I was also in Paris. Mm-hmm. Was in Belgium. I was in different cities as well. I went also to Spain. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know some of Europe,
the European culture. But it's still different. It's still different to, at least it's my perception, but I did not grow up with, singing and dancing and movement. And, I'm pretty sure you also experienced this also in your school, with a lot of women who maybe come from a different culture than Colombia. what would you say because I also want to dive in how movement changes also our self-esteem, how we empower ourselves as men and women, how we release trauma and emotions. But before we go there, I want to know, what do you believe would be the ideal world that we can create if we take the Colombian roots of embodiment, of music, of dance, of ancestral lineages, and combine it with the structure and with the efficiency of Germany, for example?
Oh, that's the best combination. is a really good balance. That's why my girlfriend is European.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yes, like the complements are important. The balance is important because if you just go and dance every day, every night, and party every day, every night, or you go socializing every day, every night. Of course, there is also a contraindication there.
See.
But if you dance, if you socialize, but also you have a really structured job, also you have a really organized economy, also you have a really structured way of living your life, then you will have a better balance. And that's the point, to find a balance.
Yeah. And what we see within ourselves and also external is the disbalance. It's like there's one extreme and there's another extreme and there's no middle ground right now.
And that's my generation's work. Now, because of the information time, we have access of the information, international content. Also, the tourism is growing because now it's also easier to travel. Now it's also easier to know where to travel. So now all the cultures are really getting together.
You just said something like a word. It's the work of my generation. When you were sitting or when you are being with yourself and you are talking with yourself and connecting with yourself, what do you found out for you why you are here?
I'm here to reverb. So it means to expand as much as I can. As I told you the analogy of the tree. When you see growing a tree, it's not that the tree is going to say, oh no, I'm going to be little. No. It's growing, trying to be the maximum capacity, the tallest, the biggest, with the most branches possible. That's why nature is like it is, because you don't see a river, oh no, I'm going to put 2 drops today and 2 drops tomorrow. No, it's trying to be the biggest river. Of course, we know human hand. So it is this maximum expression of yourself what you need to look for.
I like names, and I was Googling before, what Jafeth means when you translate it, and it's expansion. It's expansion, abundance, and really growing through anything from the ground, like the lotus. I love the metaphor of the lotus, to grow through the dirt, but to expand and found the beauty and the just gorgeous flower inside of it.
I didn't know that. Nice to know.
Yeah.
Sounds beautiful.
And when you are working with people, when you are dancing with people, what do you see most in them?
Well, what I see the most, for example, at the beginning, is, for example, women that cannot leave control. That's one of the first things that I always have to work on.
How do you work on it?
I work on it blindfolding.
Wow.
Yes, because then, of course, your senses are also influencing the way you feel. So when you just let your body go, then you can leave the control without watching, without touching, without being influenced by, oh no, I'm going to do this or that. No, just listen to the music and let go. That's something that really works. Also for the connection in partners, when they fall, like blindfold,
Yeah.
it works really well.
What is it for the men? What you see most in them?
For the men, it's difficult to lead.
Ah.
It's difficult to lead because also it's difficult to lead someone that is not ready to be led.
Right.
So everything needs to be ready to be in the right place so it can really work. So if the follower in this case, that is normally a woman, is not ready to be led, is not in the posture to be led, then it's going to be a problem also for the leader. And the leader won't learn how to lead either.
And how can they complement each other, or how can they support each other to actually change the role? How is that? What it's...
It takes time.
Uh-huh.
But then, as I tell you, with some activities, with some exercises, blindfolded, trying just to dance by touching their fingers really smoothly and not to grab their hands. And it's to wake up this sensibility in both. And then the transition will happen with the time, of course, with the practice, because it's a habit. So you need to practice. You need to make it a couple of times, and then with the repetition, you will get on yourself. But this is one of the most common issues that I have in my job.
Do you experience this also with different countries? Like, do you have like one
it's
specific...
not like no. It happens with everyone.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
It's so powerful. You actually, you know, but you do so much more than, leading a dance school. You're helping people to connect to their essence, to their inner anchor again. And I can speak from myself, experiencing being a woman. It's very difficult to let go of the need to control, because you're so pushed into your masculine, or into the unbalanced form of masculine energy, that you just do it by yourself. But with the knowledge also having to surrender into my femininity, I actually feel so much more balanced within my being, because I realized, it was never my core energy in the first place anyway. It was just something that I needed to understand what it is so I can let it go.
Exactly, and then everything works perfect. Because, for example, the flexibility of the woman, that's something that a man don't have. It's something that is a fact. So what we do is, if in a simple term, we just, as leaders, we provide the stability and the center of the turn, of the spin. And then the woman does the spin. But everything needs to be in the right place. If I don't give the right impulse, if I don't give a good center to the follower, if I don't give the stability to the follower to do a turn, can be a tragedy.
Yeah.
She can fall, then she can hit you in the face. Things like this happen. But it is because both need to be in the correct place. That's why you mirror each other. When the man is going forward, the women are going backwards, and then the opposite side, and this is the dance. It's to balance. If both go forward, what happens? You crash. If both go backwards, then you get away from each other. So you need to be in this constant flow, and that's how it works.
That's beautiful, because in the end of the day, we are invited. That's what I take out of this conversation with you today. We are invited to move past the manipulation of separation, because in the end of the day, it's not that men are better than women. It's not that women are better than men. And it's also not that we don't need men and we don't care about women. That's like the ridiculously most annoying lie that I found out also through different types of movements, that we push men away as women and let them know, we don't need you. We don't need you at all. We can do everything by ourselves. And that might be true for both of us, but also not, because we do need each other. We do need to complement each other in our essence and our form. It doesn't matter if it's externally, but also internally. So what happens when we push the masculine outside away? We also push our internal structure and leader away. And the same vice versa. I met so many men who don't trust the woman externally, but I also know that they don't allow themselves to feel. They don't allow themselves to connect to themselves, and they distract themselves And they actually push away the accountability and leadership that they have within themselves.
See.
And for that reason, I'm very grateful that we have this talk today, because when we first got together and we met, we had some Spanish lessons. we were talking poquitos español.
Sí, sí.
But I wanted to know more about you, because I can feel the love that you have within yourself and the presence that you hold. And that was interesting for me, because I was like, I want to know about your culture, because I don't know so much about that, And that's the reason I'm beyond grateful for our conversation today. And there are like 2 more things that I would like to ask. The first thing is, how do you see yourself? I know it's about the present moment, but how do you see yourself in a couple of years? What is important for you as a man in this lifetime?
Family. I think I want to have my family. I have a really beautiful family in Colombia. I want to create my new family. And that's actually what I'm looking for. Yes, to be a peaceful man, surrounded of his children, a good wife.
How many children do you want to have again?
As much as my girlfriend wants.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
That's really beautiful.
Something simple, nothing really out of mind. Mm-hmm. Something simple. To be a family guy, I'm really from my house, from my job, and yeah.
How important do you think joy, the feeling of joy, is in all of that in life? In all its facets, it's all ups and downs and whatsoever. What do you feel about the emotion or the experience of joy?
Joy it will be the perfect feeling to be permanent. Mm-hmm. But as I tell you, it is about being grateful, being present, and being peaceful. I think that this is the group of things that you need to feel to get joy. To be peaceful, to be present, yes, to be grateful.
Yeah.
Because the satisfaction that gives you to be grateful is something that nothing else gives you.
Yeah.
You can see a sunset every day, but it feels better when you're grateful about it. Mm-hmm. It's a different feeling.
Yeah.
So that's why I see it as something important to feel joy, to be grateful.
That's beautiful.
It's such a little satisfaction that I don't know like where it comes from. But when it comes, it really feels different. So you can be in your job that you don't like it, but the day that you're grateful about your job, you like it, at least that day.
Yeah.
For some single reason.
Yeah.
So
this being like grateful in the present moment and experiencing joy, what else would you say when people, men and women, are listening right now to this episode and they are facing a hard time in their life, or they are struggling with their self-esteem, or they're struggling to express their emotion to their girlfriend, to their boyfriend, or to really have a hard time letting go of the past? What would you recommend?
Well, guys, I'm not really good at giving advice.
Oh, you're doing a good job, really.
But you need just to listen to yourself, to isolate yourself, not to be scared of being alone, because in that moment when you feel that it's the last time that you have, it's just the beginning and the transition to something better. I can assure this have happened to me not only once but a lot of times, that in that moment when I feel that everything is just going wrong, is the starting of something really, really new and better. And it doesn't matter what the situation is, always you have and you count with yourself. You are not alone.
Yeah.
That's the only company you need.
Yeah.
That's the only company you have to listen to. That's the only friend that you really have. And it's not to isolate yourself and become someone in the mountains. No, not at all. But you need this space. You need this space from your wife. You need this space from your mom. You need this space from the university. You need this space from the parties, of course. You need this space from all the external influences. And you need to sit with no internet and make the right questions. And the answers sometimes are scary. That's why it's difficult to be alone.
Yeah.
That's why you need to entertain yourself all the time to sleep. Because you don't want to be present thinking about these uncomfortable things. But when you get out of, as I tell you, these kind of environments that you are really influenced by, because you're influenced by your couple, you're influenced by your family, you're influenced by your environments. So when you can expulse your environments from you, then you have someone to answer. Otherwise, you will do what the rest do, or you just won't do anything.
Yeah. You're very good in, giving advices. Just letting you know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not, but it's something that in my experience, as I tell you, what I'm just saying here is an opinion. It's something based on my life, the chapters of my life, but it can serve to us as well. I know that I'm not the only one around with these situations, with these experiences, so can be helpful for someone else. And don't give up that everything is possible for the human being. Everything.
Powerful. Thank you very, very much. Before we close out, is there anything else that you would like to share in today's episode?
Dance a lot. Dance a lot. This is the beginning of a completely different human being. You will really feel yourself. You will align your body with your mind, with your spirit. You will be more confident. You will find your insecurities in your body. You can identify them by dancing and then to solve them. You will get someone socially attractive, not only sexually attractive, but attractive. People will want to socialize with you. This is the best contact and the easiest that you can have with another human being. You don't even say, hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Te conozco? No. You just go, you dance. Then you will have this beautiful connection with someone else. You will share the same moment, the same song with someone else.
Beautiful.
And this is something that really can bring happiness to your life. My life is happy also in part because of dancing. I don't know if I couldn't dance. So I dance a lot, go and meet new people. Dancing communities are really nice. They are really present. They are really helpful. And go for it. It's a new skill that will open the doors for a new life as well.
Thank you so much, Jafeth. It was such a beautiful and deep conversation, and I'm really grateful that you were opening also today your door to my questions.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I am really happy to be here, and this is something that I don't talk about with anyone, and for me it's really nice that you also open the doors of your podcast and invite me to talk about this.
Thank you. Where can, when people are listening right now to the podcast and they're in Tulum, for example, or they're wherever on the planet, how can they connect with you when they want to, find out more about you and what you're offering? Can you give us a little bit information about that?
Yes, sure. So in Tulum, we have Bailamor Tulum, which is the local school. It's a physical school where people can come and have physical classes. Mm-hmm. Then we have Bailamor Experiences on Instagram. And this is all about the excursions, the retreats, and experiences a little bit more elaborated, more than just dancing, but also cultural exploration, natural exploration, and also combined with dance and some wellness.
Wow.
And my personal Instagram is Sojatropic. I'm a musician, so I have material of music. I have some dance there. I have some experiences also that I've had in my life that I want to share with people. So you can also go and have a check.
I will link everything in the description box anyway, so you can directly click on the links and connect with Jafeth also in person or online.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Gracias desde el fondo de mi corazón por la entrevista de hoy.
Excelente, excelente. Con mucho gusto, Arabella. Un placer para mí estar aquí también.
Sí. Like you can tell, we talked more about life than to have Spanish lesson, but I can order tacos.
Excelente.
Excelente.
Antes no podías, ahora sí puedes. ¿Cuánto vale el taco?
Oh, true. True. Muchas gracias.
Gracias a ti.
It was a pleasure, and thank you again so much.
The
and also,
pleasure is all
thank
mine.
you for Tulum Podcast Tulum for having us today.
Sí, muchas gracias también a Casa Podcast por abrir este espacio tan espectacular, tan necesario también aquí en Tulum. Y gracias a Pavel, mi hermano, por estar ahí siempre también. Me he agradecido.
Bye.
Bye, bye.